When we talk about our treasure that is spoken of in the Bible, you soon come to realize that it can enslave a person with covetousness and even more greed. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Tuesday. In the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus has warned us to lay up for ourselves treasures in heaven, not here on the earth. And one of the reasons he tells us that is because of how wealth and possessions tend to enslave us. He says in chapter 6, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. When Jesus speaks of the two masters here, he is comparing his disciples who followed his words and his example and became his servants. As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul writes in many of his epistles and describes himself as the servant of the Lord Jesus Christ. In the Greek language, the same word doulos can mean servant or slave. So what Paul was essentially saying was, I have given myself to be an indentured servant of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am his slave to obey him, any command he gives upon my life. And it seems that Paul lived that way, didn't he? But what about that person who is enslaved by their possessions? You know, we are servants to our property, our assets here on the earth. This may come in a form of upkeep on a house or our property by painting and fixing and mowing and landscaping. You know, the list of jobs just goes on and on and on. We even become enslaved with money, whether it's just balancing the checkbook or managing our bank or our money market accounts or trying to protect it from thieves. People spend large sums of money to install security systems to protect their possessions, and thereby they are enslaved by their wealth. Well, the point is, Jesus said, you cannot serve God and mammon, or your wealth. They're contradictory to one another. Will we lay up treasures here in heaven or in heaven for eternity? You know, it will cause feelings of rivalry, whatever we do. We have to answer the question honestly, will I serve the Lord or my things? By the way, that question may come up in your mind oftentimes when the offering plate is passed by your pew. Am I more tied to my money or am I more tied to the Lord? Or when the church has a need and yet you have planned that $5,000 vacation for your family, what is the greatest need for me here? Will I serve God or mammon? Or when we go into some long-term debt for things in a temporary world? You need to end the struggle today. As a matter of fact, one of the ways that we end that struggle of having those two masters is by saying, I'm going to make Jesus Christ my master. All that I have belongs to him. And then we live a life where God is God and we are his servants. And wealth is actually just something that he has given us to use in his service. So we dedicate it all back to him and say, God, you know whatever I have is yours anyway. Help me to use it in a way that pleases you.